Let's do some simple math to start today's episode of Colts Talk presented by Prize Picks. People who are subscribed to the channel, they are getting free Colts content, the latest news with the Indianapolis Colts. They are making their voices heard on what's going on with the team. They are happier. Those who are not subscribed, missing Colts news. They're paying for Colts news, and they don't get to say what they think about the team. Subscribe so you're happier. All right, a little bit of fun to start the show there, so be sure you subscribe. But we're going over the depth chart today. We've had the draft, we've had trades, we've had the offseason free agency. The Colts roster depth chart has changed since the offseason began, obviously. We are going to go through all those changes, how things look, how they could look coming up, all that. Could still make some moves, but where do we stand right now? Let's get right into it. The quarterback position, this is something that has not changed. That's right, Anthony Richardson remains on the Colts. No late draft picks, no undrafted free agents trying out at quarterback. Maybe something to watch for coming up in free agency, but this is where it stands as of right now. We also got an Anthony Richardson update yesterday after talking about teams he could be traded to, after talking about his fifth-year option not being picked up. Dude showed up for work 2 weeks after OTAs, voluntary OTAs, in fairness to Anthony Richardson. He showed up for week 3 of the Colts' voluntary offseason program, which leads me to believe at this point in time, all signs point to Anthony Richardson being a Colt in 2026. I sound like Chris Ballard right now as he keeps saying Anthony's a Colt. Anthony's a Colt. I still don't love it. I know that's the vibe. I get that's the deal. I still don't love it, mainly because you can say things have happened, time's gone on. You have a disgruntled quarterback, and you have a front office that's tried to get rid of him and probably stressed out with the way they can't get rid of him in general, right? Still recovering from eye injuries, training down in Florida. You know, the Packers just signed a quarterback, so you're running out of options in general. But hey, you never know, right? There's a chance Anthony Richardson's back with a good attitude, looking to compete for QB2, could be called upon at some point. That's the upside in general. And yeah, I think that quarterback 2 competition could be pretty fun. Preseason games can be pretty hard to watch. Isn't it great? You kind of have 2 quarterbacks you're interested in with Anthony Richardson and Riley Leonard. So AR looking like he's going to stay in Indy. I would be surprised if he's traded at this point or even cut. We will keep an eye on that. Let's get to a room a lot of people have big opinions on. The wide receiver room. They got worse. All they did was this. They got worse at the wide receiver position. Valid argument, especially because Michael Pittman Jr., who you had under contract, by the way, was good to go. You traded. Alec Pierce was re-signed by the Colts, and then they made some additions. You know, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, Deion Burks, right? A couple other undrafted free agents that they've tried to add to the room in general. I understand the debate. All you really did was bring back Alec Pierce and then try to replace Michael Pittman with a group of players. I'm excited about Deion Burks. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine has potential there. And then the undrafted free agents, those are lottery tickets, right? You just hope you scratch something good with those there. We'll talk about this more with the edge rusher position. I get the Pittman stuff. Pittman stuff makes sense to me. You kind of just decided like, okay, we have to lose this guy for money reasons. Let's try and replace him with a group instead of going out and getting one guy. A group that also is a bunch of lottery tickets is the running back position for the Indianapolis Colts. Seth McGowan, a draft pick for them later in the draft. Castle, Vaughn, Pear, all undrafted free agents. So you drafted one running back, didn't sign any, and then went and got undrafted free agents to fill the rest of the room. The question for me, the point of emphasis for me, DJ Giddens is your running back too. Is that good enough for Indianapolis? A lot of teams do running back by committee. I respect it. A lot of teams have a number 1 running back and then a guy to back him up. I respect it. Those teams also have a good running back to back him up. Their running back 2 is part of a committee for a reason. Giddens wasn't great in 2025. Hoping and expecting he'll just be a really good running back 2 this upcoming year. We'll see on that one. All right. Today's show is presented by Prize Picks. Good reminder for you guys, if you don't have the Prize Picks app, then you don't have America's #1 sports pick app. The Prize Picks app is great because it's the best place to win cash while watching sports. The lineups are the key here. It's the easiest thing about the app. It's the part I love most. You just pick more or less on a few player stats and then lock in your lineup. Baseball fans, you can go hits, home runs, or strikeouts. Basketball fans, the playoffs are happening. You can go points, rebounds, assists, put them all together. Blocks, three-pointers, put them all together. All that can be paired in these lineups. But we're talking football today, so we thought we'd show a football lineup. The newest players to the league. What are they going to do this season? Nice lineup here from producer Aiden Paris putting it together. Kenyon Sadiq, more on his receiving yards. Again, this is season long at 449.5. Jordan Tyson, 4.5 receiving touchdowns. Well, more there. And then Caleb Downs, an interception and a half. We'll go more for the former Buckeye. Interesting stuff there for a season-long lineup that you could put together. If you liked that lineup or any other lineup that we've showed here on Colts Talk, you can follow us at Billy_Beebe, at CSAP, myself and producer Aiden. Copy our lineups with a single click. What do you mean follow? Yeah, just like social media. Give us a follow at those usernames I listed. You can tail or fade our picks or get access to the lineups before we even put them on the show. Same deal with your friends. If you have a buddy that makes great picks all the time on Prize Picks, get the app. Make sure you follow them. And new user offer right now. Download the Prize Picks app today with the link in the comments and description. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Oof. Let's take a breath real quick. This is a room I feel good about. The tight end room. I know we've got a couple rooms where it's like, who's going to step into this spot? What happens if this guy doesn't show up? So on. Tight ends, I feel like we're good here, right? We're familiar with Mo Alley-Cox, Tyler Warren, a couple interesting ones like Carson Touts never played football before. That's one of the interesting Colts pickups here. Technically an undrafted free agent that they signed before the draft even started. So that one, pretty curious with that. However, this is about Tyler Warren. If you need some, I've got your Tyler Warren stock. I liked him when they drafted him. I liked the year he had in 2025, and I like what he should be able to do in 2026. Make sure you buy in. Get some stock for Tyler Warren right now. Feeling good about the tight end room, which transitions us to the offensive line. I owe an apology for my mispronunciation there on Matt Goncalves. Is what it is. I apologize on that one. I thought I had it down. I got bad info. We move on, right? Shout out to the Colts Nation for correcting me real quick on that one. Little bit of change. Jalen Travis is the big change at right tackle. You lose Braden Smith. However, it is that right side of the line that could see changes / competition / mix-ups coming up here, and that's because of Jalen Farmer, the rookie 4th-round pick for the Indianapolis Colts. Look, the Colts have a long history, I guess recent history more of taking mid-round offensive linemen, throwing them in there, seeing what they can do. Some point or another, they become starters or don't, right? And I think Farmer is a good example. He was one of the draft gems that ESPN's Jeremy Fowler noted. Look for him to go at that right guard, that right tackle competition, find a way to play some way in general for the offensive line that needs to be better in 2026. Question for you real quick as we've ran down the offense. How do you feel about it? Did the Colts offense get better or worse this offseason? Type B for better, type W for worse. All right, edge rusher position. This is a hot topic, right? Because we go into the offseason. This was a need. This was have to have it. This is got to get better. Latu, add Arden Key, hoping for a big year from JT. And then Chris Ballard kind of just added a bunch of names after that to this group. You look at the additions again. Arden Key was free agency. Michael Clemens, who a little bit on the edge, defensive end, a little bit on the inside, which we'll talk about. George Gumbs Jr. was drafted. Caden Curry was my steal of the draft, and Mitchell Melton's an undrafted free agent. All those additions for the defensive end edge rusher position. They went Moneyball here at this point in time. Look, the Colts do still have some money. They could go out and get a Joey Bosa or somebody like that. They've taken the Moneyball approach. Shout out Aiden Priest. He had the correct wording for it here. You can re-sign Johnny Damon for a bunch of money, Joey Bosa or free agent, or you can just get 3 or 4 guys to do what he does, add it up and do a rotation. That seems to be where the Colts are at with the edge rusher position. It's fair to ask if that's enough. It's fair to say, okay, but is that going to work? You really want those guys instead of Joey Bosa or Trey Hendrickson, right? That was a big name we thought the Colts were going to get. Fair to ask. We will see if the Moneyball approach works. Kind of did it at receiver replacing Michael Pittman Jr. and at the edge rusher position instead of Trey Hendrickson there. Sticking on the defensive line, I think Michael Clemens is going to get some time on the defensive tackle position. I think he's going to get an opportunity to get in there and play a little bit. So we will keep an eye on if he's outside or inside. You feel good about Buckner. You feel good about Stewart. Buckner's recovery is going really, really well. You felt good about this group before, and then Chris Ballard just went out and added a bunch of names to that also. And I do know defensive tackle, you got to run 4 or 5 deep sometimes. You get injuries. You miss weeks. Again, Buckner not, it's a neck injury. It's pretty scary, so you got to make sure you have enough guys there. Look what Ballard did at the defensive tackle position. Colby Wooden in the Zaire Franklin trade, Derek Nottie, Jerry Tillery, Cameron Ball, who, yes, is an undrafted free agent, but I expect him to probably make the team. He was supposed to go in the 5th round. UDFA, going to have to prove himself. And then Michael Clemens, again, they added him. I kind of expect him to possibly break into that defensive tackle room and help out there as well. To the linebackers, this group needed a makeover. This group got a makeover through the NFL draft. And I will say, Akeem Davis-Gaither, when he looked to be, he had to be your middle linebacker at one time, your Mike linebacker when they added him. Just hated the room, did not like how it looked, didn't like what they were doing in general for this group. Now, man, that's a good set of makeup you threw on that pig. They look a lot better. I'm giving them the most improved award this offseason as a group. CJ Allen, I'm very excited about. Bryce Betcher, I'm very excited about. Seems like he can be pretty versatile, very athletic player. We know Allen fell to the Colts, supposed to be a first rounder, ends up being their first pick in the 2nd round. I got to give Ballard credit. Like I said, this was, you have a need, got to address it, going to be hard to do. Everybody's mad about Zaire Franklin in some ways. Nope, went out and got it done. Looks good on paper right now in the linebacker room. That only means so much, right? You have to see it on the field. If you expect to be a competitive team, then paper's not going to do it. I want to see Betcher. I want to see Allen. I want to see the linebackers improve. Even, hey, hold up what they've done with guys like Zaire Franklin. If you can match that, I think that's pretty cool as well. Cornerback, Chardavius Ward is back. Sauce Gardner is healthy. Kenny Moore is still a Colt. That is your kind of update at this point in time. You add Cam Taylor-Britt, a couple undrafted free agents added to the mix. Look, I know you're wondering, what's the Kenny Moore situation? What's the deal with Kenny Moore? Hate to say it, but at this point in time, we are waiting on a Kenny Moore trade or release. That's just where we're at. Don't think it's going to be like Anthony Richardson, where after a while he just kind of says, okay, I'll come back. I think it's either he gets traded or released, which makes you look at the next options. Justin Wally is talked about by ownership, talked about by the Colts in general as the next man up for Kenny Moore. Fair. He missed 2025 with an injury, so we will see on that. I like Austin Brown. Maybe not to start, but, be competitive and push and make the team. Undrafted free agent, was a safety in college, now looks to play the nickel position for Indianapolis if Kenny Moore is traded and or released, / when he is traded or released. My question for you guys, which rookie will have the greatest impact in 2026? We've already thrown some names at you. Some start, some will be trying to earn playing time, so on and so forth. Which rookie will have the greatest impact in 2026? Speaking of that, AJ Halsey is my pick. I think the strong safety position is open, and I think AJ Halsey can take it. Another A- pick for me, B+ pick for me for the Colts. I just felt like he was going to be later or earlier in the draft. They got him a little earlier than expected. So, they made some changes at the safety position, but I'm confident Halsey can kind of step in. They added Wanye Thomas, Jonathan Owen, so that's definitely notable. It's important because I don't feel like we've talked enough about Nick Cross going to the Washington Commanders. This could be like something tough that we get to a point in the season. It's like, man, Nick Cross was doing a lot for this defense, and I don't know how much effort they put into re-signing him. Didn't seem like the biggest need for them, so they didn't. Eyes turning to Halsey. Playmaker, athletic, ball hawk, go up and get the ball. Maybe a little bit of a transition to a strong safety, but again, I think you'll see him on the field, special teams, and hopefully a starter for this defense. Special teams to finish out here as well. Look, not too much changing as far as your punter, long snapper, kick, punt returns, backups with Doolin and Downs. It's the kicker between Blake Grupe and Spencer Schrader that we need to discuss. Groupie brought in last season was very good after Schrader was injured. He had a franchise record kick. It just was money most of the year. Obviously, they brought him back to compete. For Schrader, really messed up his leg last season. So it's been a long recovery. However, I know he has a lot of fans rooting for him to come back, rooting for him to make a difference. So again, for Spencer Schrader, for Blake Groupie, we will watch the kicking competition there. You'll have to watch Colts Talk to find out who wins that competition. Any other competition on the roster for Indianapolis, be sure to hit that sub button. We'll be back with you real soon.